you, everyone who's in this house. Thank you to Bernie Sanders. The world and America will never be the same for what you have done. I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for creating this miracle that you brought in Bernie's campaign. And what I want to assure you is that miracle, as powerful as it has been, it will be even more powerful going forward. I want to agree with everything Nina said, even though I didn't hear it all. I felt it all even before I got here. And I want to underscore how much we are together. And as Nina was saying, and I think you've been saying all day, that this is an historic moment where we are rising up as a movement for democracy and justice across this nation and across this planet, and we will not be stopped. Because I know that inside of this movement for a political revolution is the same movement for many social revolutions.
That's right.
And that we come together as a broad movement. As we come together, we reach critical mass and we become unstoppable as a joint movement for people, planet, and peace over profit. Planet, and peace over profit, because it does represent the breadth of what we're doing and the depth of what we're doing. The powers that be would like to think of us as dozens, hundreds of separate social movements, each with our own agenda. But I think we are in a different time now than we were even 5 years ago. To make this transformational change, it takes all of us working on everything. And that is what we are doing. From living wage campaigns, which we are winning across the country. From the pipeline blockades, which we are winning. From the fight to make Black Lives Matter, to the fight to cancel predatory student loan debt. We are a movement that is united and a movement for transformational change. And that movement is deep, broad, and wide. And that movement takes its cue from you in so many ways, because you have said that politics as usual is over and done. that we are marginal, that we don't count, and in so many ways they are trying to bury this transformational movement that you have accomplished. Well, we have news for them. We are not going away, we are only getting stronger. Racism and violence is not confined to policing. It is also a built-in part of our economy, because when the average African American, due to historic thievery and injustice and redlining and community disinvestment and extraction of wealth and labor from the African American communities, that has resulted in a horrific number that I just want to empower you with. When you hear someone say, oh, this is just an isolated problem of police violence, it is not. We need a deep and transformative solution, because right now the African American family has 5 cents on the dollar of the wealth of a Caucasian family. That is unacceptable and violent. We have built-in racist violence in our school system, like right here in Philadelphia, where schools have been closed in the African American communities, like all over the country, where high-stakes testing and privatization and charterization is used as an opportunity to hijack our public resources, especially in the vulnerable communities of color, and to turn them over to private industry. We're saying no. because we have been stealing their jobs and destroying their economies through the likes of NAFTA and through the Trans-Pacific Partnership. We say to Donald Trump, we don't need no friggin' wall. We just have to stop invading other countries. I hope you will help me, help all of us together, help all of us help each other by ensuring that our voice is on the presidential debate stage. You can be sure Hillary Clinton is not going to say that to Donald Trump or many other things that need to be said to Donald Trump. So for those who are worried about defeating Donald Trump, I say that's all the more reason why we must work together in my campaign to be sure we can defeat. And before I leave the subject, there's another crisis out there, very much related to the immigration crisis. And of course, the other thing we have to do to solve the immigration crisis is provide not just a path to citizenship, but a welcoming path to citizenship. That celebrates the richness that immigrants have always brought to this country. I think every person in this room, unless you are African American and were forced, or you are Native American and had your land stolen, respect to you, thank you for enduring and being the symbol of courage that you are. Many thanks to our Native American brothers and sisters. You are leading the fight for justice in so many ways. But for the rest of us, we are all immigrants on this bus. And the strength of America, the real exceptionalism of America, is that we are exceptionally diverse. And we are people together from four corners of the earth, and we have had an incredible conversation here to get to the bottom of who we are and our common humanity. And that is the exceptionalism that we must help bring to the rest of the world, that we are all exceptional together in the fullness of our diversity. And we celebrate all of us in our diversity. So on the related issue of foreign policy, this has been kind of the elephant in the room that has not been recognized throughout the dialogue of this presidential campaign, and we intend together. So how do we do that? You know, people say, well, you got ISIS. What can we do? We have to bomb ISIS. Well, they're forgetting. Where did ISIS come from? The campaign in Iraq. And where did Al-Qaeda come from before that? From a little experiment in Afghanistan that was created by who? The CIA and the Saudis that created the international jihad movement to start with. And it's been going back with one hand, we fight terrorism, but with the other hand, we fund terrorism, we arm terrorism, and we train terrorism. So which one will it be? We say we need a new kind of offensive in the Middle East. It's called a peace offensive. With a weapons embargo, which is easy because we are providing the majority of weapons and arming all combatants on our side. So we can shut down the flow of weapons. We can also shut down the flow of dollars from our associates, from our allies like the Saudis. Because even Hillary Clinton herself in a late State Department email identified her good friends, the Saudis, as the major funder still of Sunni jihadi terror around the world. We started it. We can stop it. This is just to underscore to you that not only do we have the moral authority to transform the world in front of us, we actually have the solutions to this crisis. One other solution I should be sure to mention on this very hot day in yet another heat wave is the solution to the climate crisis. Afraid of Donald Trump? I say no, I am afraid of climate change. And you know, probably as well as I do, that even under a Democratic White House with 2 Democratic houses of Congress, we did not begin this is both Jim Hansen as well as this recent study that NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, mouthful, what they described just a couple weeks ago. And this was not covered in mainstream press at all, but NOAA will roll out the written reports about this soon. This was just a verbal report. And what the senior scientists from NOAA said was that we, on the pathway we're on, which has only gotten worse under Democrats in the White House and in Congress, under both Democrats and Republicans, we have never, it's not getting better. Everybody knows that in this room. It is accelerating. The rate of increase is getting worse. It's not getting better. This problem will not be solved by political parties that are on the payroll, by predatory banks. The transformation, the emergency transformation that this crisis actually demands. That means transforming by 2030, in less than 15 years, to 100% clean renewable energy, 100% healthy, sustainable food system. As people, and we call for public transportation, renewably powered and energy efficient. This is enough to create the 20 million jobs that we need to accomplish this emergency transition and ensure that everyone has a good, well-paying job and a secure job starting now. People have the right to a job and a secure economic future in the Green New Deal. How do we pay for this? Number one, when we have 100% renewable energy, we can no longer justify 1,000 bases in over 100 countries around the world. So we save so much money from cutting the bloated military budget that doesn't make us safer, it makes us more endangered. We cut that budget and we put $500 billion into true security here at home, in our housing, in our schools, in our schools. To just drive home that these crises we face are absolutely solvable, and we are the only ones who can solve them. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Because we are not on the payroll of the corporate donors, of the lobbyists, and of the super PACs. My campaign, like Bernie's campaign, continues that tradition of true, clean money, small donor